Meri stands at the doors of the courtroom, gazing at the high oak doors as if they are entrance gates into her history. Behind her, the sea of people murmurs her name, in shock, in sympathy. Cameras pop, flashbulbs flash, but her gaze remains ahead. She is not here to act. She is here for the truth. The courtroom is filled with the scent of old paper and tension, the combination of perfume, sweat, and fear. The back rows are filled with reporters, their notepads at the ready. To the right, Kody and Robyn sit side by side, hands clasped so tightly the knuckles are white. Robyn mouths something, but Kody's jaw is clenched. His confidence, the charm viewers once loved, has dissipated. The judge enters. Everyone stands up. The scene is like the beginning of a drama Meri never volunteered to be a part of. She sits down next to her lawyer, but her mind goes back to the night that altered everything. The night she discovered the letter. It was buried beneath a pile of ancient show contracts, a yellowing piece of paper creased in half. On the cover, in Robyn's handwriting, private. Do not open. Meri opened it anyway. And what she discovered inside, a mention of a DNA test, made her world spin. That piece of paper is what has brought her here today. The whispers hush. The trial commences. Meri's lawyer, a calm but fierce woman named Janet Pierce, stands first. Your Honor, this case isn't about fame or money. It's about deception and a truth hidden for over a decade. Kody shifts uncomfortably. Robyn looks down. Janet goes on to say, my client will establish that Mr. Brown and Mrs. Brown withheld DNA evidence related to a child who was said to be Kody's biological child, when, in truth, it might not be. There are gasps in the courtroom. Kody bangs his hand on the table. That's a lie! But the judge's gavel stops him. Meri glances up, her voice shaking but firm. You lied to me, Kody. You lied to us all. Objection. Robyn's attorney cries out. The judge motions to dismiss it. Fingers dance across the keyboard. Each word is being captured, each beat of this tragedy made immortal. Janet heads toward the evidence table and sets down a white envelope sealed, the same one Meri clutched at the beginning. The judge elevates an eyebrow. What's this? An authenticated DNA report, Janet responds. It verifies that the paternity claim Kody and Robyn made a decade ago was false. That's not supposition. It's science. Kody's face reddens. You have no idea what you are saying. That test was years ago, it doesn't matter now. The judge raises an eyebrow. Mr. Brown, are you acknowledging a test was administered? Kody halts. Robyn takes his arm once more, speaking quietly with rage, don't say another thing. Meri gasps for air. Her heart thuds so wildly she can hardly hear the hum of the courtroom. The flashbacks slice through her brain like shattered film reels, Kody vows of truth, Robyn sobbing about trust, the family dinners where they all beamed for the cameras. Now, facing them, she knows those moments were never genuine. Janet looks at Meri. Would you like to explain to the court why this report is important to you personally? Meri nods begrudgingly. Because I lived a lie for many years. I believed everything that Kody said. I thought our family was based on faith and loyalty, but it was based on secrets. Her voice breaks. When Robyn came to live with us, I welcomed her. I protected her. And when paternity questions arose, I trusted them when they told me everything was okay. But they were not okay. They were keeping something from all of us. In the courtroom across from her, Robyn's tears begin to fall. She whispers, Meri, don't do this. Meri gazes up, her eyes filled with sorrow but not remorse. You already did, Robyn. Janet presses on, calling up messages, screenshots, and journal entries that Meri stored from the time she lived in Kody's shadow. Each one points to a deeper pattern: manipulation, guilt, and denial. But the defense retaliates. Robyn's attorney stands up with icy composure. "Your Honor, we have every reason to suspect this alleged DNA test is a fabrication. My client never took any such test, and any paper suggesting otherwise is forged." Meri's face falls. "You think I forged it?" The attorney smirks. "I'm pissed you're so attention-starved." The courtroom gasps for the second time. Even the judge appears offended. "Counselor, tone." Meri's attorney responds. "We'll establish authenticity by lab testing." But Kody, not being able to contain himself, erupts. "You don't have any idea what we've had to endure." "You think this is a game?" The judge bangs his gavel once more. "Mr. Brown, second outburst and I will hold you in contempt." The quiet after that stings more than any words can. The rest of the session plays out like a tempest: arguments, protests, and facts whirling around like thunder. Meri does not waver. For once, she experiences power, not of revenge, but of release. As the day nears its end, the judge calls for recess. The courtroom empties slowly, but Kody lingers. He looks at Meri from across the aisle, eyes dark, jaw set. "You think this will fix anything?" he mutters under his breath. Meri meets his stare. "No," she says quietly. "But it will end something that should have ended years ago." Kody storms off, Robyn in tow, mascara-stained tears streaming down her face. Flash bulbs burst as the door shuts behind them, leaving Meri sitting there with the haunting ring of reality. She takes a seat, fingers still quivering. She gazes at the vacant witness stand, the very seat she will occupy tomorrow when the DNA results are officially sealed. The heaviness of it all pushing against her chest. The faces of her children, the years of deception, the nights of insomnia. She tells herself softly, "Whatever comes next, at least I told the truth." Sunlight in the morning cuts through the tall courthouse windows, casting golden lines across the wooden floor. There are reporters huddled on the stairs outside, microphones poised. Within, however, the atmosphere is chillier. Today's the day the envelope is opened at last. Meri sits by herself at her table, hands together, mouthing a silent prayer. She's wearing gray today, peaceful, steady, immovable. But within, her heart is a drumbeat that won't be stilled. From the other side of the room, Kody and Robyn come in surrounded by attorneys. Robyn's eyes are puffy from tears. Kody fidgets, chewing on the inside of his cheek, his anger a spark away from ignition. The judge comes in, the gavel rings once. Court is now in session. The courtroom falls silent. Janet, Meri's lawyer, rises first. "Your Honor, we're submitting Exhibit B, official DNA verification results provided by the state-certified laboratory. This document has been reviewed and cleared for authenticity." She hands the envelope to the bailiff, who passes it to the judge. The paper makes a soft hiss as it slides across the table, quiet, but heavy, like thunder in the distance. Kody mutters, "This is ridiculous," to himself. Robyn digs her fingers into his arm, whispering, "Please, don't." But he shakes free. "I'm done pretending." The judge looks over the rim of his glasses. "Mr. Brown, I expect complete decorum." Meri observes them, two individuals she once considered family, dissolving before her eyes. Each second is unreal, as if she's hovering above her own tail. The paper slowly opens. The rustle of it sounds louder than it needs to. Everyone leans in. The judge reads the report. His eyebrows jerk and then lock. He breathes through his nose, a controlled, lingering sigh. He glances up. As of this report, the supposed biological relationship between Mr. Brown and the minor in question does not exist. The chance of paternity is 0%. For one instant, no one breathes. Then Robyn gasps, shrill, fractured. That's impossible. She clutches the edge of the table, staring wide-eyed. That can't be right. Kody jumps up. Your Honor, I insist upon a retest at once. This is an outrage. The judge bangs his gavel. Sit down, Mr. Brown. The noise bounces off the walls. Meri doesn't budge. She simply gazes straight ahead, lips quivering, eyes shining, not with triumph, but with incredulity. The reality she craved. Aches a great deal more than she had anticipated. The room explodes in murmurs. Journalists write madly. A person gasps loudly as Robyn breaks into sobs. She turns to Kody, her voice cracking. You said you were certain. Kody's face goes white. Robyn, shut up. But she doesn't. No. You promised you'd taken care of it, that no one would ever know. The crowd falls silent once more. Meri's breath catches. Those words, taking care of it, slice through her like a knife. The judge raises an eyebrow. Mrs. Brown, are you suggesting there was intentional deception here? Robyn's stunned, realizing what she's uttered. Her lawyer jumps up, frantic. My client withdraws that statement, she's under emotional stress. But it's too late. The words are lingering in the air, unspeakable. Janet moves forward. Your Honor, we move that statement be made part of the record. Kody bangs his hand on the table. This is a circus. We're finished here. Not yet, the judge responds. This court will get to the bottom of it. A projector whirs to life as Janet shows text messages recovered from an old backup of Kody's phone, text between Kody and a confidential lab consultant. The texts mention sample swapping and shutting Meri up. Robyn sits in stunned silence. Kody, what is that? He swallows hard. It's taken out of context. Janet doesn't bat an eye. Then tell me about the text where you said, make sure it says 99%, Meri will never check. The courtroom erupts. Reporters swarm to the doors, ready to dash out headlines. The judge bangs his gavel once more, bellowing for order. Kody speaks in a rising, despairing voice. You don't understand. I was defending my family. Meri rises finally. Her voice is soft but as cut as ice. You were defending your ego. She approaches the stand. Do you have any idea how it feels to see your entire life turn into a TV show, and still think the man in it loved you? You lied to all of us, Kody. To her, she gestures toward Robyn, to me, to every child that trusted you. Kody's expression turns hard. You think you're innocent? You abandoned this family, Meri. Her jaw clenches. No. You pushed me out. There's a difference. Robyn completely loses it, crying into her hands. Kody is helpless, caught between anger and shame. Meri's attorney quietly gathers up the papers, the judge scanning them over again in silence. At last, the judge addresses them. Based on the evidence brought forth, this court will proceed to authenticate all correspondence and ascertain whether perjury or fraud was used in the pretrial filing. Until such time, proceedings are adjourned. The gavel comes down, ringing out like the closing of a book. Meri breathes deeply, her shoulders shaking. She should be relieved, but instead, she's empty. The truth doesn't come cheap, and she's just beginning to pay. As the courtroom clears, Robyn approaches her. Meri. Please. I didn't know everything he did. I swear I didn't. Meri glances at her, two women, formerly sisters, now strangers united by the same heartache. You chose to believe him, she murmurs. And now we both have to live with it. Robyn turns her face away. Kody exits, cameras clicking behind him, yelling, "You'll all regret this." Outside, thunder booms across the sky. Rain begins as Meri descends the courthouse steps, each raindrop splatting like punctuation. Reporters shout her name, demanding comment. She says nothing. She simply keeps going, hugging her bag tight, whispering, "It's over. It's finally over." But deep within, she knows it isn't. Because somewhere out there, more secrets lie in wait. And one of them, the reason Kody forged that test, remains unexposed. Rain pounds against courthouse windows as everyone streams back in for day 3 of the trial. The air is thick, like the building itself senses another storm. Reporters fill the hallway, their questions crashing together in a panicked buzz, but inside the courtroom there's silence. Meri sits at the plaintiff's table, staring at the door. She hardly slept. The news yesterday made headlines, DNA scandal rocks Brown family. One part of her wishes to become invisible, but another part, the part that got her 3 years of covert humiliation, does not budge. The judge enters, his robe swishing like thunderclouds. Court is now in session. Kody and Robyn make their way in behind their attorneys. He is devastation personified, dark circles around his eyes, his signature hair pulled back in a messy knot. Robyn's eyes are red from crying. But below the grief, there's fear. Janet, attorney for Meri, rises. Your Honor, the plaintiff presents a new witness who has stepped forward since yesterday's hearing, a Mr. Evan Grant, ex-employee of Silver State Diagnostics, the lab that analyzed the initial DNA test. Gasps ripple through the gallery. Even the court reporter looks up. Kody's lawyer springs up. Objection. This witness was not disclosed, the judge cuts him off. Overruled. Given the significance of yesterday's revelation, I'll allow it. The side door is opened by the bailiff. A tall figure in a rumpled suit enters, holding a folder so tightly his knuckles turn white. He sits on the stand, raises his hand, and takes the oath. Janet steps forward. Mr. Grant, please indicate your role at Silver State Diagnostics. I was a lab technician, he answers, his voice gruff. I worked with paternity samples for private customers, including one arranged by Meri Brown some 11 years ago. Kody glances over, whispering to his lawyer. Janet continues. What did you find, Mr. Grant? He opens the folder. The test was tampered with. The DNA sample labeled as Mr. Brown's failed to identify with the chain of custody records. Someone switched it prior to processing. A roomful of gasps erupt. Meri's stomach knots. Janet, who sanctioned that switch? Evan stares straight at Kody. Your Honor, I was given explicit orders from a man who claimed to be Kody Brown. He paid me in cash, $2,000, to make the test read positive. The room explodes. Robyn clasps her mouth. Kody leaps to his feet. Liar! I don't even know that man. The judge brings his gavel down hard. Order! Mr. Brown, sit down. Evan goes on, shaking. I said nothing for years, but when I read the headlines yesterday, I couldn't keep quiet anymore. I had the payment receipt and a copy of the lab's internal log. He produces a worn paper, corners yellowed with age. The clerk accepts it, hands it to the judge. The courtroom gasps in unison, the shared breath of incredulity. Robyn glances at Kody, her voice barely audible. Tell me he's lying. Kody's jaw clamps. They're setting me up, Robyn. But his tone is uncertain. Janet inches nearer. Mr. Grant, why did you wait so long to say something? Because of fear, he replies. After the show became huge, somebody on the Browns' legal staff phoned me, told me to pretend the test never happened. They told me that if I spoke up, I'd lose my job. Meri shuts her eyes. So it was true, the intimidation, the hidden records, the years she questioned her own gut. The defense lawyer stands up, attempting to recover. Mr. Grant, are you testifying today for payment? No, Evan asserts. I'm here because I should have spoken the truth 10 years ago. The lawyer smirks. Cute timing. Evan stares his stare back at him. Truth doesn't have an expiration date. The judge asks for a recess to confirm the new evidence. The gavel falls. Reporters rush into the room, their cameras flashing like lightning. In the break, Meri sits in the hallway, hands over her face. Janet sits next to her. You okay? Meri nods slowly. It hurts, but it's also the first time I feel like I'm breathing again. In the meantime, Robyn corners Kody. Tell me the truth, Kody. Did you pay that man? Kody looks down at the floor. I did what I had to do. Her voice cracks. You ruined everything, for what? To save face? He snaps, to save us. But even he doesn't think so. Back in court, the judge verifies that the paper looks legit and accepts it as evidence. Whispers wash over the crowd, a reporter leans in and says, career ending. Janet stands up once more. Your Honor, with this evidence, we demand a complete fraud investigation of the initial filing and all supporting documents. Kody's attorney objects once more, but the judge stops him. Request received. Mr. Brown, you may testify. Kody lingers, then approaches, his boots heavy on the tile. He curses under his breath, his tone flat. Janet, Mr. Brown, did you pay Mr. Grant to change a DNA report? He makes fists. No. Janet holds up the bank withdrawal slip, $2,000, dated the same week as the lab entry. Care to tell me about this? He looks at it, then at the judge. That was for something else. What exactly? Kody hesitates. A private family affair. Janet inches forward. Or a private cover-up. Kody's silence bellows louder than words. An uncontrollable fit of tears breaks out in Robyn. You promised me it was over, Kody. You swore you'd fixed it. He turns to her, flames burning in his eyes. I did fix it. The courtroom erupts in chaos. The judge's gavel snaps the din in order. If this persists, I'll clear the room. Meri observes him, this man who had held her hand through family prayers, now disintegrating under testimony. The judge requests the day's recess, giving forensic confirmation for the next morning. As individuals depart, Kody approaches Meri. His tone is low, nearly begging. You got what you wanted. Congratulations. She regards him, serene but vacant. No, Kody. What I desired was integrity. You provided me with headlines. He turns away, beaten. Outside, cameras hover. Meri covers her face, but one journalist yells, Meri, is it true Kody bribed the lab? She hesitates. The truth's finally speaking for itself, she says, and moves away. She glances back at the courthouse, a place where she feared to tread, now the battleground of her rebirth. The wind rips her hair, rain starting again. Morning sunlight slices through the courthouse windows in a blade of cold, unforgiving light. The seats are filled well in advance. News of Kody's blatant bribery has made the Brown trial a national sensation. Journalists mumble about the next witness, a person who called the court late last night and insisted on testifying. Meri remains still at the plaintiff's table, her coffee untouched. Following last night's storm, she had believed the worst had been revealed. She was mistaken. The judge arrives. Court is in session. Counsel, proceed. Janet, who feels triumphant following yesterday's success, stands. Your Honor, prior to resting our case, an unforeseen witness has appeared on the scene. He says he possesses information that can affect both sides' credibility. Kody's attorney snorts. Another mystery witness? Is this a circus or a courtroom? The judge's brow furrows. Go ahead, Ms. Weaver. The bailiff pushes open the side door. A late 50-ish man enters, pressed suit, steady gaze, and briefcase handcuffed to his wrist. He's no stranger to scrutiny. Janet makes the introductions. Your Honor, meet Mr. Daniel Cross, a private investigator who once worked for the plaintiff, Mrs. Meri Brown. The courtroom is in suspended animation. Meri's eyes widen. What? Daniel stands on the stand, a mask of neutrality. The oath is administered, and his voice rings out clearly. I was retained by Mrs. Brown about 9 years ago to keep track of Kody Brown's financial transactions. Kody grows red-faced, whispering, "You tailed me?" Meri's reply is a mere whisper. I needed the truth. Janet fidgets. Mr. Cross, tell the court what you learned. He opens the briefcase, and there are folders and aged audio drives. My job was mundane at first. But after 2 months, I discovered something unpleasant, not regarding Mr. Brown, but Mrs. Brown. The crowd leans forward. Daniel opens a folder. In early communications, Mrs. Brown contacted a different laboratory in Utah prior to the DNA test being organized by Robyn Brown. She requested her own personal test using samples that had been taken without permission. Gasps abound throughout the room. Janet's face turns white. Are you sure? Daniel nods. Yes. She reimbursed me for taking hair samples from Kody's things. The test matched 0%. But she never told me that. Kody laughs harshly. So you already knew I wasn't the father. Meri wipes her eyes, tears welling. I didn't know it was real. I thought maybe that test was false. Janet attempts to take control. Mr. Cross, why bring this up now? Daniel speaks softly. Because honesty is a two-way street. Yesterday we learned of fabricated results ordered up by Mr. Brown. But this morning, the record needs also to show that Mrs. Brown directed clandestine testing, crossing both ethical and legal lines. The gallery hums like a beehive. Reporters click out stories on their keyboards. The judge holds up a hand. Order! I will remind everyone present that this is not a contest of morals. Proceed. Janet swallows. Mr. Cross, did Mrs. Brown tell you to cover up your findings? He pauses. Not exactly. But when I presented the report, she said, and I quote, "This never happened. No one can know until I'm sure." Meri's shoulders slump in. I wasn't hiding, I was surviving, she exclaims. When I asked them questions, they said I was paranoid. I needed evidence before I destroyed the little family I had left. Her voice breaks, reverberating through the quiet room. Robyn stands over her, between anger and compassion. The defense picks up the moment. Kody's attorney rises, pacing. So, Mrs. Brown invaded my client's privacy, performed an unlawful DNA gathering, and covered it up for almost a decade, and yet she is here accusing him of lying? Janet protests. Irrelevant to the fraud on trial. The judge nods slowly. Not irrelevant, but contextually relevant. Continue cautiously. Meri's eyes well up. I'm not proud of what I did, she tells me, shaking. But everything I feared came to pass. Kody did stage the public test. Robyn knew. I was the only one looking for truth while they based a family on lies. Daniel continues speaking, but more quietly now. Mrs. Brown, I think you were seeking closure. But you have to see, truth is something you can't bury and still have control over. There's a brief recess called by the judge. Meri emerges into the hallway, pursued by cameras. Questions fly. Did you spy on Kody? Did you perform illegal tests? Were you withholding evidence? She remains silent. She simply walks, head held high, though her heart is like shattered glass. Within, Kody paces beside Robyn. She wrecked me before I ever handled that DNA test, he grumbles. Robyn's tone is icy. And you wrecked her when you publicized it. Their silence between them is thicker than their conscience. When they come back, the judge speaks to both parties. In light of the new evidence, this trial will now encompass all activities pertaining to the initial DNA controversy, both falsifications and unauthorized tests. No one who used lies as weapons will be shielded by the court. Meri slowly nods. There is no victory remaining, only fatigue. Janet leans in and whispers to her, we can still plead intent. Your reason was discovery, not fraud. Meri shakes her head. No. Let it all out. Perhaps that is the only way to finally be done with it. She says this as she looks at him, and Kody stands before her with something odd in his eyes, not anger, but relief. Perhaps, he says softly, we both needed this. The judge dismisses for the day, setting testimony for Robyn next. As the crowd thins out, Meri lingers beside the vacant witness chair, gazing at it as though it's a mirror. The truth she insisted upon has finally come, because it came with her name on it as well. Outside, the storm has passed. The sky glows orange above the courthouse. For the first time in years, Meri feels something akin to peace, not because she won, but because there is nothing to hide anymore. She speaks softly to herself, perhaps the truth does not set you free, it merely keeps you from fleeing. The courthouse weighs more on verdict day. Cameras adorn the steps, the air vibrates with tension. Inside, each creak of the wooden benches shakes like thunder. The truth has already been revealed, but now it's time to determine what the truth entails. Meri steps in first. She's still in the same blue blazer from day one, rumpled and exhausted. She doesn't give a care how she appears, she just wants it over. Kody and Robyn sit side by side across from the aisle, holding hands, faces drawn but inscrutable. They are less couple defending themselves than survivors holding out for an oncoming storm to subside. The gavel of the judge comes down. This court will reconvene now for final arguments and verdict in Brown versus Brown. The buzz of the murmurs ceases immediately. Janet, Meri's attorney, rises. Her voice is softer than before. Your Honor, this case began with a question of paternity, but what we've really uncovered is a web of deceit spun by pain. My client admits her mistakes, her secret testing, her fear, but the evidence shows Kody Brown manipulated a DNA test presented to the public as truth. This deception caused irreparable harm not only to my client but to the integrity of the family itself. Kody's attorney stands, starched and angular. Your Honor, my client's alleged manipulation was a matter of emotional survival. Mrs. Brown's privacy invasion lit the fuse that consumed everything. If this court desires justice, it must balance intent with harm. The judge inclines his head. Very well. The court will consider the evidence and render its judgment today. A murmur runs through the room. Verdicts normally take days, but the judge is set on putting an end to the family's war before it spreads to another news cycle. While the judge withdraws to chambers, the silence is stifling. Meri looks at Kody. Neither speaks for a stretching moment. Their eyes hold 10 years of love, of anger, of unsaid sentences. "You could have told me," she says in a whisper. "You could have trusted me," he says. She laughs bitterly. "Trust was the first thing you bartered for control." He sighs. "And you bartered truth for revenge." They both glance aside. Meanwhile, after an hour, the judge enters. The gallery rises. In the case of fraudulent misrepresentation and invasion of privacy, the judge starts, "This court holds both parties culpable. Mr. Kody Brown knowingly produced manipulated DNA tests for gain. Mrs. Meri Brown performed unauthorized tests in defiance of laws of privacy." Meri closes her eyes. She already knows what's coming. The court thus directs both parties to publish a joint public retraction of the fraudulent results. Mr. Brown will also pay damages for public defamation causing emotional distress in the sum of $250,000. Mrs. Brown will pay a civil penalty of $25,000 for the unauthorized extraction of DNA material. Gasp makes its way through the courtroom. Not victory, not defeat, simply some odd, empty middle. Meri slowly exhales. Kody drops his head. For the first time, they appear smaller, human, vulnerable. Outside, a mob of reporters await as they exit the building. Cameras pop. Microphones jut forward. "Meri, how do you feel?" "Kody, do you regret the lie?" "Robyn, did you know?" Meri hesitates on the courthouse steps. "I think we all regret what we became trying to protect what we had," she says matter-of-factly, and then disappears. Kody lags a few steps behind, Robyn holding his hand. Neither of them says anything to the media. Neither of them even glances at the other. That evening, the news cycles the verdict repeatedly. Sister wives' DNA trial ends in split decision. Pundits argue about who really won, who really lost. But within their walls, everyone involved is aware there were never winners. Meri sits by herself at her window, observing the courthouse light reflection disappear in her coffee cup. The envelope that began it all sits upon her table, now empty. She says, under her breath, "It's done." And yet closure does not taste of peace, but of silence. In another part of town, Kody is watching the same news report. Robyn sleeps next to him, her hand loosely across his arm. For once, he is not angry, only exhausted. He for his phone and key in a message, "We hurt each other enough. Let's stop before there's nothing left to heal." He never sends it. The screen darkens. Weeks afterward, Meri shows up on her first post-trial interview. The studio lights are intense, but her voice is measured, steady. "The courtroom didn't provide me with what I wanted," she says to the host, "but it provided me with what I needed, a reason to begin anew." The audience murmurs gently. "And what are you going to do next?" the host probes. Meri smiles faintly. "Learning how to live without needing anyone's permission to tell my own truth." Outside the studio, she breathes in the cool air. For the first time, there's no crowd, no cameras, just the sound of evening traffic in her own heartbeat, steady and free. She looks up at the sky and whispers, "I'm done running." Fade to black.